So I'm going to drive through Blackpool now, obviously. We're on the Promenade, of course. Obviously, technically it's a New South Promenade that we're on here now. Just obviously passing the Boulevard Hotel, the Pleasure Beach, obviously the Big Blue Hotel, which is adjacent to it there as well, of course. Obviously the Pleasure Beach opened in 1896 and it celebrated its 125th year in 2021. It's still in the hands of the same family. Obviously it was Alderman Bean who started it off there. Now it's in the hands of the Thompsons as it's been handed down, but obviously it's the same family. Just passing the Watson underpass on the right hand side there, and obviously we're coming up to the UK's currently owned and only Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, and one of two pizza huts in Blackpool there on the right hand side as well. Got the recently refurbished arcade now right hand side here, and we've got the Joseph Emberton designed Art Deco type white tower on the right hand side there, the old casino building. Got the Sandcastle Water Park on the left hand side there, of course, which replaced the South Shore bathing pool in the 80s, obviously when one became defunct, the other one opened. Got the Velvet Coaster on the right hand side there, obviously owned by JW Wetherspoons, obviously, which in turn is owned itself by Tim Martin and the consortium, of course. It was, when it opened, the largest in the UK, but I believe now it's currently the third largest. Got Pablo's Ices on the right hand side there, which is obviously one of Blackpool's longest, most established fish and chip outlets. Got South Pier on the left there, which is obviously one of three piers. We've got some sort of emergency service vehicle that come past us here now, which looks like an ambulance. On the right hand side there, got the Viking Hotel, which obviously has a Talk at the Coast attached to it as well, which is obviously the cabaret bar. We've got the Queen's Hotel, formerly owned by the Mancini family, on the right hand side just there. Got the famous steakhouse with the silver cow at the front of it there, of course, too. And on the right hand side there, got Waterloo Road, where of course you've got the famous Notriani's. Dutton Arms there, again, very old pub on the right hand side. That's just a recently opened car park on the right there too. Moving on now, got Britannia Place on the right hand side and the former Yates Wine Lodge, of course. Keep on driving now, so over this speed bump. We're obviously now between South and Central Pier, that sort of area of the promenade as we're going there now. It's obviously 30-mile-an-hour zone around here. Now there is a few speed cameras to, of course, be wary of. The trams aren't running. The last tram came in at 1:20. You always say obviously they run till 1:30 in the morning, but it's about that time, of course. So there's no trams currently running now. Just to talk about obviously the tramway. It's 1885 that the Blackpool tramway opened. It was first opened, of course, with a line running between Dean Street and Talbot Road. That was the first section of line that it opened. Next year it's going to be celebrating its 140th anniversary, and it makes it one of the oldest electric tramways in the world. When it first started off, of course, it was a conduit type tramway system, which was ground fed as regards to electricity, the way it received it. But of course they had issues with the conduit, like switches, filling it with sand. Of course now here we've got on the right hand side Manchester Square. We've got Rigby Road on the right hand side there as well. Got the very famous Craig Yadon Hotel on the right hand side there too. And we've got what's known as the Foxhall area of Blackpool on the right there as well. Foxhall, that's famous for the Tilsley family, of course, where the first established building and house was actually erected in Blackpool there, obviously owned by Tilsley himself. Central Pier on the left hand side there, and on the right hand side we've got Silcock's Fun Palace. Obviously Silcock's the famous showman who obviously still travels around the country now with his rides there. We've got Madame Two Swords on our right hand side there as well, which is, I believe, one of two Madame Two Swords in the UK, obviously the one being in central London. We've got Odyssey on the left hand side there. Of course the illuminations got switched off at midnight, so they're currently not running now. Funland, which is a large arcade on the right hand side, and one of many Sea Lifes in the UK, with obviously Sea Life Blackpool on the right hand side there. Arunelai on the left hand side, which is one of only two lifeboat stations in the UK which has three separate lifeboats. We're coming into a 20 zone now. We've got Coral Island on the right hand side, which was formerly owned by EMI. We've got the James Bond themed Spyglass bar on the right hand side there as well. Moving on now, we've got one of three Wetherspoons in the Blackpool area. Well, I say Blackpool area, actually in the Blackpool borough itself. That's the Albert and the Lion on the right hand side there, obviously named after the famous poem, which does have a ring of truth to it as well. Blackpool Tower building, of course, on the right hand side. famous for its ballroom, which was originally designed by Maxwell and Tuke, but then of course only a few years after that they weren't happy with it, so Frank Matcham redesigned it, of course the world famous theatre architect Frank Matcham. Now that opened in 1894 to great acclaim, obviously themed heavily on the Eiffel Tower. Obviously Eiffel Tower is a lot taller. It celebrated this year its 130th anniversary year. The circus is still going. It only missed one season in 2020, obviously because of the coronavirus outbreak. Coming up in front of us here, of course, we've got the Metropole, or to give it its official title, the Grand Metropole Hotel, which is temporarily closed. It's owned by the Britannia Group, and it's famous for being the only hotel actually situated on the promenade itself. On the right hand side there, we've got Queen Square, which is quite famous for the Soul Suite and various takeaways. Obviously Soul Suite is a Northern Soul and Motown bar there. We've got Woody's, where Benidorm meets Blackpool, on the right hand side there as well, of course. And on the right hand side there, you've got Springfield Road, where you've got the old Electric Theatre down there, which is Blackpool's newest theatre venue. Going into the 30 zone now, of course, still driving. We've got flats on the right hand side. We've got a set of two substations on the left hand side. One's for the tramway, one is for the Blackpool Illuminations. Cocker Square on the right hand side here there, which is obviously named after Dr. Cocker. Two separate cart marks. Got the Caledonian Tower Hotel just on our right there, and there's Dacia's or Diash's Hotel on the right hand side. Parisian Hotel there, and Tiffany's, which is probably best not to talk about as regards to an incident which happened there fairly recently. We've got the Claremont, and then we've got Blackpool's only Best Western Hotel, the Carlton, on the right hand side. We're coming up to an area known as Wilton Parade as regards to the tram stops. This is Pleasant Street now. We've got Wilton Parade coming up soon. At Wilton Parade there, we've got the Grand Hotel, the Strand Hotel, the Strand Lodges. We've also got the Rutland Hotel, and we've got the President, which is sometimes referred to as the New President. On the right hand side there, got the Imperial Hotel as well, which is probably Blackpool's most grandest hotel. Various Prime Ministers and other heads of state from around the world have stayed there, and Charles Dickens even stayed there when it had only been open for a fortnight. Grand Hotel on the right hand side there as well, which used to have a nightclub in the bottom, and it also was formerly known as the Hilton Hotel. Coming up here, we've just went past Derby Road there. Now we've got Whalley Road coming up on our right hand side here. Cherry Blossom Hotel in the corner, former site of the Derby Baths there. And just a bit of information, Charlie Caroli, the world famous circus clown, used to live down Whalley Road there, as you can see. These hotels and former care homes are subject to renovation this moment in time, and we're coming up to the Gin roundabout area of Blackpool, or the Gin area I should say. On the site of the Gin pub there was a brickworks there, which was very famous as regards to creating the brick, which is synonymous with the Blackpool buildings. Savoy Hotel now right hand side there, which is once again a Britannia residence. Moving on now, got the Granada Apartments coming up there. Got Jubilee Gardens on the left hand side, which are illuminated in conjunction with the Blackpool Illuminations as well. Cliffs Hotel, which is famous for having its own Cliffs Hotel tram stop as well. Which moving on now, of course, like I say, still in the 30 zone, so you've got to be careful of that. There is speed cameras along here as well. Empress Drive on the right hand side there, which does lead us on to Knoll Hill if you keep on going. And we're coming up very shortly to the tableau section of the Illuminations. Doric Hotel and the famous Elgin Hotel on the right hand side there. Elgin Hotel obviously sponsors some of the Illuminations, but they're currently resting. Cabin, or quite often known as Uncle Tom's Cabin, on the left hand side. And obviously we've got the lift there which takes you down, which still does work, but it's not currently working now, but it can be if it wanted to. The Old Castle Casino, which is now the Genton Casino, we have just passed. Obviously it looks like a castle. Moving on now, keep on driving. These are tableau sections I was talking about here. Some of these are the oldest in the Illuminations, and they're still operating from the 1960s era, in particular the Teddy Bear's Picnic. Some of these haven't changed. Obviously you've got the Four Seasons on the left hand side there, but it's pitch black so you cannot see them. Lowther Avenue, which is on the right, and the Lowther Avenue tram stop, which is on the left hand side there. There are exactly 40 different tram stops on the Blackpool and Fleetwood tramway. That is obviously one of them. It was 38 for many years. Well, it's actually 37 for many years. Then they built Northbrook North, sorry. Then, of course, they extended it up Talbot Road to create an extra 2. These are Illumination collection points here. Obviously, one booth there, followed by another one after it. On the right-hand side is the Miners' Convalescence Home, known as Admiral Point. Moving on now, of course, as you can see, we are entering the North Blackpool area. which consists of the areas such as Ankersholm, Bispham, which is about to drive to now, and of course Norbreck. You then move on to the Wyre areas, which are known as the Blackpool urban areas, but they are technically not Blackpool. That's sponsored by Coral Island on the left hand side, that illumination. Just coming up to the famous Bispham Archway with the J.C. Robinson designed tram station on the left hand side. J.C. Robinson was obviously the borough architect of Blackpool many years ago. We're turning right now onto a road known as Red Bank Road, which we are still in Blackpool, of course the north area. Famous Bispham kitchen on the left hand side, or on the right hand side there, sorry. Coming up towards now one of two Sainsbury's in Blackpool on Red Bank Road here now, which I'm just going to make a turn into, and that here ends the end of this video, of course.